All right, so one big thing that I want to cover today, I actually was on the phone with the county doing some research yesterday about a specific property that's like 50 acres, and I needed to know a lot of information. I needed to understand the roads. I needed to understand what the zoning was. I needed to understand a whole lot of things about that. And so I did what we recommend doing, and that is contacting the county, speak with them. They can pull up the address and start looking through everything. Well, in that experience, I actually spoke with a very helpful person from the county, and he walked me through the steps that he was taking to find that information. And I was like, this is amazing. I have been in this business for a very long time, and I didn't know many of the things that he was discussing. And so I figured it would be a really good idea to share that with you all so that we all have more tools in our tool belt to be able to do the research on properties and be more educated and speak, from a place of knowledge instead of a place of not knowing. So we're going to jump into that. Let me share my screen. We're going to go into, this is a Lee County's flagship web GIS. This is a more sophisticated map than what we would get from LIPA, and there are more layers and more possible, things to be able to discover in this map that we have right here. Now, the web address for that, and yes, I will post this in the chat, but I want to say it here. It's legis.legov.com/Lee spins, and you can see the caps in there. So capital L and then 2 capital S's. So legis.legov.com/Lee spins. It's called Lee spins. I'd never heard that word before. And he's like, yeah, we'll go on Lee spins. And I was like, you're gonna have to break this down for me, sir, because I have no idea what you're talking about. So here we go. Once you're in here, we can do a search basically like we would do in Lee County Property Appraiser's website. So I can immediately right here, you will have a parcel search, that box that shows up. And in here, you can search by strap, the folio ID, the owner's name, or the address. So for this example, I will type in an address here. Okay, I'll do it for the example, but then I'm going to change it out. So this was Jody's house that we have under contract. And so I do a quick search for it, and boom, bada bing, bada boom. I've got the property right here. So when I do that, you can see right here, it gives me some information about it, does a nice little aerial view of the property. This is sort of what we would expect for starters. Now, here's where things get a bit more interesting, is that underneath here, we have an approximate square footage that is of the lot. So we're getting the lot size. Okay. Then down here, we have a resident information tool. So I can click on that and boom, it pops up all the information that the resident would want to know about the property. So what their political zone is, public safety, what their utilities are, all the property information that a homeowner would want is all right here. Okay, so all the permitting, assessed value, all that information is right here on this one single page, which I think is really darn cool. Then this next link here, this brings you to actual Lee County Property Appraiser's site, straight into LIPA. The next one here gives us like layers about this specific property. The next one gives us flood information about the property. The next one gives us zoning review notes. Like if there's anything with zoning that would be there, that would show up. This one here, this eConnect, I'd like you to take at least mental notes to remember this. that is a link that brings you to the permitting about the property. So if there's been any permits done on the property, you can pull that right there. And then here are more zoning notes here. So these little icons that are underneath here are actually pretty darn cool, you know, pretty important. Then above here, we have some additional icons. The one that I'm going to focus on that I think is absolutely amazing is this little tape measure. So when I click on this tape measure, I can go in here and I can either do an area or I can do a distance. And if I click on distance and then I say, hey, I really want to do distance in, I don't know what the difference between feet in the US is, but we're going to do feet US. And then I can say, man, my person was wondering how wide this particular lot was. I can literally go on here and measure. It's 40 feet. Bada bing, bada boom. And I can measure all the way around if I wanted, or I can go in and say, okay, so this lot is exactly, oh, why is it not clearing? All right. What are we doing to me? All right, so it's 40 by 90. It's adding those two together. I don't know how to clear it right now, but it tells you the exact dimensions of the lot straight from here, which I think is a really big deal, right? It's a really big deal to be able to see that there. So I really like that component to it. The next thing is that in the top right here, there is a lot of different layers in here. So you see the top level information, so parcels, land records, the parcel dimensions. So I guess if we did that, it would give us just the dimensions automatically. Then property sales, infrastructure, zoning, district boundaries, planning districts, and so on and so forth, utilities. But as we nail down, we actually get additional information about that. So I click the down arrow, this little down arrow on the parcels and land records, and look at all these additional information, you know, the additional information that's here. Easements, wetlands lines, like if there's wetlands on the property, you'll be able to click and do that and it'll show you the wetlands lines that they have, subdivisions, dimensions, etc. So if I click on here and I click easements, I want to show you, I had to go to a different neighborhood to find exactly it, but let me show you here. This is a really cool thing. It only shows you the recorded easements. So there's a possibility that there may be some other easements, but let's take, for example, everything that is in pink is an easement that's on property. And so let's say that our client is purchasing this property. Well, I see here that there's an actual easement that has been granted to get to the lake through here. So if our client is buying this property right next door and they want to put a pool in, now we know they can have access to get in the back through this easement, right? And then you'll see here, a lot of times they've got easements all along the lakes. So that's what everything that is in pink, that's what that's showing. So I just think this is really cool. I've never seen this before. All right, so then we're gonna really blow our mind here. And the next one, it's a little bit slow. If in the top right-hand corner here, there is something that is called the aerial photography. And in aerial photography, we can literally go back all the way to 1998 for this specific area. So pay attention here. So I'm going to click in 1998 and just see what this area looked like then. And lo and behold, this was the satellite image from 1998. Isn't that cool? And then as I go, let's say 2007, it's going to show me, and like you can figure out by doing this. So by 2007, between 1998 and 2007, all of these properties were built. Let me go back to 2005. I think I'm in Colonial. Yeah, 2005 didn't work for some reason. Let's see 2002. 2002, not so somewhere between 2005 and 2007, those were all built. But on going back to Jody's, for example, I think that we were here. Come on, be faster than that. All right. There. So 2011, you see like the houses across the street weren't built yet. And on here, it's getting a little bit wonky on me. But anyway, you can absolutely do that. And it's just really cool to be able to go back and, oh, I've got 2 of them that are on there. That's what's causing my issue. And so this is their house. And in 2016, for example, they see in 2016, we have this extended lanai right here. If I go back to 2015, it ain't there, right? Or if somebody changed the roof, you can figure out, boom, 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 you know, just by doing aerial photography. And I think that that's just really cool. You know, it's really cool to be able to do that. So that's a pretty good overview of what is available on here. And this just really helps understand wetlands, helps understand history, you know, around everything, and gives us a much better view on the properties in general. What I did not realize is actually in LIPA, this pictometry aerial viewer is different than the tax map viewer. He showed me this as well. So when I click on that, this gives like a different satellite version of that. And this, we've actually got the 2023. Wow, this just happened today because this wasn't here yesterday. So we have the 2023 aerials here, and they have right after the storm images as well. So you can go all the way back here, 2001, and they've got right after Ian, they have right after Irma as well, and they have right after Charlie as well. So like you can see those things. So if you go to like the day after the storm, they did pretty good here. But obviously if we're closer to the coast, it wouldn't be quite the same. So anywho, I will post that link into the chat so that everybody has that. Collier County does have a GIS map as well. I have not found it to be nearly as helpful. And maybe it's just that I don't know and I need to call the county, you know, and speak to somebody there about how they're getting their information. But I'm going to post links to both Lee and Collier County GIS maps so that you have access to those going forward, because I just think this is a tool that we need to have in our tool belt to be able to serve the clients as well as possible. Anybody have any questions on that?